What is just a placebo effect but most people don't realize? I worked at a kid's birthday party place for a couple years in high school, so many kids would cry because they fell over, bumped their arm, etc. Never anything bad. I'd say something like, "Can you shake your foot around? Does it feel better? How about jumping in a circle? Alright, we are going to blow on your hand so it feels better." And then ask if they are ready to play again. Works like a charm. Also bandages for little boo-boos. They think they are healed and get right back to being happy little kiddos. Your perception of bad luck. The human brain is predisposed to remember bad experiences more vividly than the good ones. Thus, for an example, you may say your luck is always awful at tolls, when in reality you only get stuck in traffic 20% to 50% of the time. When I worked trained tech support, our agents would always get pushback from customers when we asked them to power cycle their phone, which 9 times out of 10 would fix their issue. So, I had them tell the customer to read them some numbers off the back of the battery, when they were still removable, that we absolutely did not need. Then we told them we refreshed a few systems, and they put their battery back in and it's all fixed. Alternatively, when batteries couldn't be removed, we'd tell them that if the phone was powered on while we did the update, it could ruin their SIM card. So they'd make sure to power off their phone. I'd do nothing, they'd turn it back on and it worked great. But if I had told them to power cycle their phones? No way. When you give your young sibling an unconnected controller after she kept bugging to join the game. To commission creative stuff. If I deliver same or next day, people don't think I spent enough time on it. If I wait 3 days to driver, people are happy because they assume I worked on their project non-stop even though I was done a day or 2 prior. Loading spinners on web pages. I once had a user complain to me a web app was too slow. And it was pretty fast. So I tested him by making the animation spinner spin much faster. He went to my boss to praise me how much faster the web app was. Spin.js is what I was using. My dog's medicine coming out of his treat tin instead of medicine packaging makes a seconds ago disgusting medicine taste mysteriously treat-like. As a former lifeguard, I can assure you that whatever cleanup you see lifeguards doing after someone vomits in the pool is almost certainly just show. There isn't really anything you can do. You just let the filter chlorine take care of it and pretend to clean to please the suburban moms. The original Febreze was unscented. But nobody believed it worked so they added scent to it. I install semi-truck bumpers. 90% of the time a customer will say it looks off by 1/8 of an inch. I'll make a noise with the impact gun on a bolt and say, "How's that? Yeah, it looks great. Nothing moved whatsoever." Some guys are extremely critical, I guess. I sold Christmas trees as a kid in junior and senior high school. Learned a trick for super fussy customers who had me hold up multiple trees to show them. After the 10th or so tree I'd yell to my coworker, "Hey Mike, if they don't want this one, put it aside for me. Nicest tree I've seen this year." Worked like a charm. When my cat wants fresh food, but he still has some in his bowl, I pretend to put more in there. He usually falls for it. Not sure if it's really placebo, but there is research done on how a car door should sound when you close it. A flat and boring pank sound would do just fine, but a lot of people find that soft, plush and yet firm P-shram PFF sound reassures them the door is closed. Someone please do a better job here describing car doors closing because mine sucks. A lot of these psychology tricks and tips you'll see online. Just in general, a lot of them have no scientific proof, but they work because everyone thinks they do. This is how I actually live my life. I just tell myself things like these and placebo myself into changing my mindset or mood. Y'all SHLD try it, it works. How long it takes a Coinstar to process and count coins and return a receipt. It finishes quickly. So quickly that folks are skeptical of the accuracy. So a fake delay, with fake counting noises, was built in giving folks more confidence in the results. That free shipping is a better deal. It generally means they've added the cost into the product instead. But you feel like you've gotten a better deal. The keep my data private button on websites. I swear my car performs better immediately after it's cleaned. I'm not sure if it still does this, but at one time Google Docs intercepted the Ctrl+S shortcut and briefly changes the cursor to the thinking cursor, hourglass, beach ball, whatever your computer does. You don't need to save your Google Docs. They save every tiny change on the server, but people are used to doing it. When cake mixes first came out, you only had to add water to them. But too many housewives felt like that was cheating and wouldn't buy cake mixes. So the cake mix companies added another step. The eggs. It worked. Apparently the cracking and adding of the eggs to the batter was enough to make it feel more homemade. And cake mixes became extremely popular. Beats headphones have weights inside them to make them heavier and give the illusion of quality and sturdiness. The exaggerated sounds of some vacuum cleaners. Microwaves in cars to make them sound powerful. The loading screens on some apps that make it seem like they are doing something complex. A scarecrow in the garden. I saw an article about how Apple Music made random selection less random because people would often complain the same artist would follow after a song, so they made an algorithm to not select a song made by the same artist until after some songs. Bubbles in cleaning products. Early formulations of soap way back when used to naturally form suds. Newer formulations can clean better but don't naturally produce suds, as the bubbling was an incidental side effect that doesn't actually have any bearing on cleaning. When these newer soaps were first introduced, people complained they didn't work because they didn't make loads of bubbles. So the manufacturers started adding a chemical solely to generate bubbles that didn't actually help with the cleaning at all, and all the complaints stopped. To this day the association of bubbles equals clean is strong enough that they still do it. Basically all cleaning products, including toothpaste, foam up when used, and almost without exception the foam is 100% marketing. So I'm sure this has happened to other people. But this question just reminded me of my principal. During meetings and such he uses the school auditorium. And most of the time I, senior now at the school, have to run the sound and lights. He's extremely annoying about it. And always asks for his mic to be turned up when in reality, he's already extremely loud and will bust the speakers. I just pretend to turn it up and ask him if it's good, and he speaks and says, "That's perfect. Thank you." I swear he thinks I'm doing an amazing job and would bring me a Coke or something for dealing with the meetings half of the day. Greatest placebo to use against others that I've done. Your permanent record. Colleges care more about what you say on Twitter and Facebook than what you said to Dakota in 3rd grade. The only time your permanent record means something is if you transfer within the district. It is not uncommon to having a loading screen or icon placed in queries, sometimes just because the average user doesn't expect it to be this quick. Intentional lag. On websites when signing up, payment processing. Source. I write codes sometimes that work. Milky or opaque white moisturizing body wash. It's the same as the clear ones. It's not more moisturizing. It just has white pigments in it. But because it's not clear, people associate it with lotion and think it's better for the skin. Edit. I'm not saying moisturizing body wash doesn't work. But you shouldn't assume something is more moisturizing just because it's white. A friend of mine who works at a big cosmetics company said the only difference in the formula of their normal and cream cleansers is white pigment. Instead of the color check for gentle cleansing agents and ingredients like panthenol or oils. Car doors should close really quietly, but they're designed to close loudly so you feel safe. Airport security. Homeland Security's own inspectors were able to get illegal items through TSA checkpoints 70% of the time. Source. https. www.forbes.com cites Ellis Talton. The 28th of January 2019. Is the TSA really necessary? Number 3B35A5225E08. That minty fresh, zesty, clean feeling you get from toothpaste. It started as a marketing strategy and caught on. And now almost all toothpaste is mint because we associate the minty freshness with cleanliness. Edit. Ah shucks. Silver. Thanks guys. It's my first. I had no idea so many people hated mint. Turkey doesn't have enough tryptophan to make you sleepy. You're most likely sleepy cause you ate too much and your body's in rest and digest mode. Edit to add. It's a placebo when you eat a meal that includes turkey and say you're tired, but eat a meal of the same calories and conditions with chicken instead and you don't feel tired. It's conditioned into American culture bequase of overeating at American Thanksgiving. Wine prices. They've done studies that show people think wine tastes better if it costs more. But when they do a blind taste test, very few people, even people who are wine drinkers, not everyone. There are some people who can tell, but it's a pretty small percentage. Can't distinguish between pretty cheap $15 to $20 bottle and expensive wine. Drinking Canada Dry ginger ale helps with an upset tummy. They were sued because their ginger ale has no ginger in it. And that was the only stuff that helped when I had the stomach flu as a kid. I got the stomach flu a lot too. Who else mashed the down and a buttons on the DS or Game Boy when they were trying to catch a new Pokémon? When talking about lice, everybody starts to feel itchy. I install commercial audio-video systems on bigger, more involved jobs like stadiums and arenas. We have AV consultants who don't work for my company but are a big link in the chain. As far as designing and etching the finished system, I don't know how many times I've been up in 80 feet. Boom lift and they want the azimuth or down angle of a speaker adjusted by some ridiculously small amount. So you get back up there, bang a couple wrenches on the speaker, and don't actually move shit. How's that? Oh yeah, that sounds better. Works every goddamn time.